Hello, I'm Chris Cobber. Welcome to the Alien Rabbit YouTube channel. Like and subscribe if you like finding out about what an independent publisher is doing in the space of publishing books and stories. In this vlog, I'm going to be talking about this book that I'm working on currently, called Artifical Eric. So, I'm just going to be introducing a bit to the basic premise of the novella which I'm currently writing, and which in fact I've got a little bit of a block on really at the minute. So I'm going to briefly introduce like what the idea of the book is and the story, and just talk a bit about some of the ideas that have inspired my pursuit of writing this novella. And then it'll be that basically, and I'll talk about just some of the. It's not obviously going to go too much into it. It's not finished yet. It's only I think just under 4,000 words written, so it's still quite early days. The book cover you can see on the right is a sort of early version of the book cover, which I drew I think about a few months ago. I've been working on the book for about, I think it's been 3 or 4 months now, so it's still fairly early on. I do want to get sort of crack on with it a bit more now. It's been dragging a bit in the last month or so. I've definitely had a bit of a block in general, the old creative block. So at the minute I'm trying to like get out of that and just get back into the process of writing again. This is the first block I've had for a while actually, which is a bit annoying. I've been on a bit of a roll for the last year, definitely. Last year I definitely was on a roll. I got like 2 or 3 books written: Man vs. Machine, Prometheus Inverted, and then a short stories collection with other writers. So, but to be honest, it's like partially that's because also in the last 6 months I've been helping other writers to get their books ready. Simon Ross's book, 4 Walks, and Richard Muirhead's poetry collection, which you can also find on Alien Rabbit's website, on Amazon, etc, etc. Anyway, Artifical Eric. What's the sort of like broad point of this novella? So it's a novella that explores AI, which is obviously quite a contemporary issue to be exploring, and I'm also drawing from traditional tropes in literature to do with like Frankenstein science. That's the primary 2 themes that are being explored in this novella. So it's like mad science, ethics in science, artificial intelligence, and the Artifical Eric is obviously a bit of a play on words. So it sounds somewhat like, when you say Artifical Eric, it almost sounds like intelligence. I don't know what the technical term is for that, but it has a similar sound, like Artifical Eric, artificial intelligence, I think anyway. This is going to be quite a, in some respects, I'm trying to really amp up some of the absurdity in some respects. Let me give you the basic. So basically, there's a scientist, a character, one of the main characters, Dr. Brian, and he is working in America, and he is developing a hardware-based life form. So a life form which has been infused with a human being's memories. So basically, there's a character called Eric Garcia, and this character has had his memories taken and put into this machine. So you could like point to certain examples in media which are similar, like say for something like RoboCop, where you have a human machine hybrid, a cyborg basically, and the book is structured so that each chapter relates to a different sense. So there's a conceptual basis to the book. So yeah, it's like at the minute in the planning stage, we've got eyes, ears, mouth, head, heart, arm, dick, legs, feet, and then the last chapter was soil. So obviously I've planned out a basic arc for the story, and then there's the conceptual chapters are based around essence getting switched on in each chapter. There's also a scientific community obviously based around this. There's a doctor called Dr. Kensington, who's another main character, and a sort of how do you say, at the minute actually I'm sort of trying to figure out who's the protagonist, who's the antagonist, all the different there's going to be quite a lot of moral ambiguity in the story, basically, especially with the characters. So you have this Dr. Kensington who wants to develop this technology called a mind mapping, which would be a way to be able to like a neurologist who wants to map out the human mind. But this Dr. Kensington wants to work alongside Dr. Bryan, who is doing this very unethical experiment in a lot of respects of taking someone's mind, who, without going into too many details, Garcia is dead, but for all intents and purposes. But this doctor is taking his mind and placing it into this machine that is slowly getting turned on, right, in terms of the different sensory organs. So obviously, yeah, there's a Frankenstein-like element to the story, and Dr. Kensington is this sort of idealistic scientist who has some misgivings about Dr. Bryan and his methods, but thinks, well, she justifies that, well, if I can get this mind mapping software working properly, we can identify psychopaths, sociopaths, and that would make it easier to find them before they do something terrible, right? Like violent crimes and what have you. So that's the basic setup of the book. And then there is also a character called Dr. Smith, who is a Dr. Richard Smith, and he is in the first opening chapter, Dr. Bryan is basically doing a presentation on this new technology where he shows that it's the being's mind, the cyborg's mind, with like eyes, just some like cybernetic eyes which can look out at the audience. And Dr. Richard Smith is just like, this is ridiculous, this is unethical. So there's also him, which you could say in some respects maybe is the audience's way in, just questioning why are you doing this, Dr. Bryan, sort of thing. Like, why are you creating this sort of Frankenstein type monster? So that he's going to be a character which I'm currently trying to develop a lot more at the minute. So he'll be the sort of like ethical questioning character who is questioning the Doctor's methods. At the minute it's basically, like I say, like just under 4,000 words in. So it's still early days. I'm on chapter 3 at the minute. I've planned it out, the general arc, but yeah. If that sounds interesting, stay tuned to this channel. I'm going to probably do a few more vlogs, like just talking about the progress in general of this project. It probably will be done by August, though it might be more towards the end of the year, to be honest. Like I said, I've been having a lot of trouble with this one. It's somewhat of a departure. It's more of a it's not really, I don't really want to make this like hard sci-fi. It's more like fantasy, sci-fi, horror, I guess, because of I've not really got much into the horror aspects at the minute. I'm more building the world up, doing the sort of preamble, the setting up for the concept in the world, and obviously have to get into the backstory of the Eric Garcia character, because that's quite important. And Eric Garcia is the mind that's been put into this machine, and that his perspective and his memories and his backstory is quite a key element of the story, really, because he's the epicenter of all of it. Really, it's all revolving around his, his awakening into this new and bizarre and obviously existentially horrendous form. So that in the image here, which I drew, there's sort of a lot of references to that. You've got this sort of almost like weird biomorphic figure, which looks somewhat like a face, almost like a clown's face as well. A light bulb, and yeah, it's got a weird biomorphic quality. And this here, especially on the right here, so you've got that little black eye with the three lines bursting out of it, with wires attached to it. And I'm going to try and really like explore the absolute horror of what it would be to not be in your own body as a human being, but be in this slowly. If you're slowly being awakened, and then you awaken into this like unnatural, robotic form. Now, what sort of effect would that have on somebody's mind? It would obviously be quite traumatic, I imagine. So it's quite interesting to try and explore that. I've got a lot to do. There's still a lot to write in it. Like I said, I've been experiencing quite a lot of blocks with this one. I've been trying to get through it, but yeah, I don't know. I want to try and think of ways I can get through those blocks. Anyway, I think that's probably enough. Subscribe to this channel if you're interested. I mean, there'll be updates on this project, but there'll also be updates on upcoming other Alien Rabbit releases, and just general videos on publishing and experiences in the industry, how to maybe tips now and again. But yeah, that's about it. Have a good one.